Hi guys, this is the Luminkey Magger 68 Ultra, a rapid trigger keyboard that is a slight spec upgrade over the previous version of this keyboard. So here is the spec sheet from the website that claims, well, very low numbers that are a bit of a marketing talk that you should not get too hung up on. They basically upped the scan rate and made some switch response sliders in the driver go lower. Does it make a big difference in real use? I would say no. Does it still perform really well? Yes, it does. Honestly speaking, I haven't had any problems or hiccups with this for the past month or so that I have been using this, and swapping to this from the Venom 60HE, that is my main keyboard, I haven't really noticed any performance dip in any way. So I would argue that it is a nice pre-built Hall effect keyboard. But let's take a look at the outside of this board. So we see some pretty okay PBT keycaps. They are dice-upped and decently thick. There are some wonky legends here and there, but trust me, I've seen way worse. Then there are these transparent keys that add a bit of a nice flair to the keyboard. This black colorway I have here is very sleek looking, and I really dig the case a lot. It is built really well and there are no sharp corners. While it doesn't offer any luxuries to make your typing feel incredible, it doesn't harm it in any way either. It is a nicely crafted case. The case consists of two parts that are held together with screws located on the bottom, and if we unscrew these, we can see that the keyboard is using a type of gasket mounting, but this type of gasket mounting is not something that is meant to soften the typing feel. Instead, it is basically just for dampening the sound, since the silicone goes around the case instead of on corners and maybe on the middle. So there is pretty much no flex on the board at all, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. This is just a preference thing. We can also see that the structure for sound dampening is pretty bare bones, but something that works really well. So between the aluminum plate, or at least I believe it is aluminum, and the PCB, there is a silicone layer that works as the gaskets. And then on the bottom of the case there is another slab of silicone. So nothing less, nothing more. There is pretty much no empty space in the case, so it is not sounding hollow at all. But yeah, the sound dampening with the silicone removes any pings from the case, and it makes it sound quite nice for a pre-built Hall effect keyboard. Here is a sound test. So I forgot to mention here that the switches are the tried and true Jade Pros that come with the more expensive Ultra version. That is what I have here. You can also get this with the Gateron White Max switches with the Magger 68 Plus. The stabs they are using are clip-ons that are looped quite generously. They are really well looped straight out of the box with a thick loop, and they have held up for a month without any ratness developing, which is pretty impressive for pre-built. The driver software is also simple and seems to offer all the features you would want to see in a Hall effect keyboard. There are 4 profiles to configure. There is Rapid Snappy, SOCD, DKS, and other advanced features if you like to use those. Then you can remap the keys, then you can disable any annoying RGB effects. That is what I do every time. And then you can assign macros, and then you can set polling rates and such. On the performance page, you can set your acceleration distances and rapid trigger settings, as well as adjust the dead zones for your switches, and everything seems to work without issues. I myself am a set and forget type of person when it comes to these settings. So yeah, these are my preferred settings for Apex. Pretty simple, nothing too exotic happening here. But yeah, I guess that's everything I want to talk about today. In case you are wondering where are the latency numbers and measurements, well, my XLAT solenoid rig is currently in pieces since some parts of it are currently missing after our move. and I have not had the time to look for them, and honestly I don't really care. But that is all. Goodbye.